was I working on?
You're working on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You were working on a lot of stuff.
I know. I'm trying to remember which one I'm on.
So, and that's what this is all about. Hello, Internet land. My back is all jacked up. I've been trying to work on stuff to get up and film it and do it, and it's just, I can't focus on it. And part of the problem is that I'm a little overwhelmed. And I think this is a problem a lot of hobbyists run into. Is that you overcommit yourself. And I think that's kind of what I've done. And I've overcommitted myself to the point where I'm a little overwhelmed. And like I couldn't find something I was looking for one of my armies that I'm trying to build up. And I tore half a room apart trying to find it, not realizing I was looking right at it. What's up, Tommy?
Hello, Commodore.
So, yeah, I'm just like, I've got so many things going on and so many things not done. And then I added on, and I got that stuff done, but the stuff I had sitting, I didn't finish on. And I tried to do a few things as a palette cleanser, and all I did was ended up building an entire army. I mean, seriously, I've got most of an army built right now. I've got the last couple pieces being primed right now on the back porch drying. And then that's going to be done. I'm going to have yet another army just like that. Hey, I built an army in 14 days. Shut up. 2,500 points of it even. I'm just like, that's a lot of guys. Not even trying. Just building what I wanted. So I've been letting stuff go. And I've got things that I've had sitting around that I started a year ago that I still haven't finished. Stuff I started 6 months ago that I haven't finished. So part of what we're talking about is committing and finishing before diving elbow deep into a new project.
What? I already know I'm guilty of this. Exceptionally guilty of all of this. With my started Drukari Inari army, my mostly finished Night Hunt, half their corn, my 1, 2, 3, 4 200 plus size figures that are sitting on my table, plus 5 that are sitting on my table, and that's not including the bunch of sprues of Raging Heroes, Lust Elves that are sitting on the table, and then all the boxes that are back there that are mine.
Completion is important.
Hi, Anne.
Hello. Well, here's the thing. If you're going to be adding on to the same army and doing one army at a time and just doing side pieces here and there, that's fine. But on the other hand, I'm sitting here with 4,000 points of Death Guard built. And I've got another 1,000, maybe 2,000 points of it sitting in a box underneath. And I got more coming. And I want to get back to my Death Guard. But I can't touch it until I make some space. I have these Stormcats that I've been working on since November. I'm a fast painter, right? Then why aren't these done? Because I did some of them, and then I got off of them. So I am committing right now, since they are mostly done, they're getting done before I do anything else. This is my next piece. I got to get these guys done. I got to get them painted. I got to get them completed.
I can't remember what color.
No. I use, it's a dark purple that is in the base thing. It's called Phoenician purple. And there are some armies I will never be done with. I will never be done with my Death Guard. Although, actually, I take that back. I really might be. I actually am getting close to almost everything I want for them. I want a couple more. That's it. I want a couple more dreads for them, and that's about it. They're really pretty much done. I've got everything I want for them. I got a frame of stuff coming for them. Want some foul blight spawns, but you know, my wolves will never be done. I don't think I will ever be completed with my wolves. And as soon as they introduce more figures for an army, I will want more for that army. But some of them I'm not that way about. Stormcast, I want to have a large enough unit of Stormcast that I can play at a couple different sizes in a couple different ways, and I'm okay with that. And currently, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19 figures. And I'm done with my Stormcast. And they're all about half done. So we're just going to dive into them. And we're going to talk about completionism and why at some point it's important to be done with a project. And not just, oh, I'm done with this, but I've completed it. Not that I don't want to do any more with it, but I've got where I want, I'm done, and I've finished them. And maybe I'll get more at some point, but finish what you got on your plate. There is a great sense of accomplishment when completing a project.
Yes, it's interesting.
Now, we as hobbyists, we have all kind of come to the acceptance of something called the pile of shame.
We're not talking about that.
We're talking about it in general terms.
Okay.
Because there's nothing wrong with a pile of shame. But why is it considered a pile of shame? Because you got these things that you're never going to get to them. You got to get to them. You have to. At some point, you've got to get to them. Or why did you buy them in the first place? Why did you spend the money on them?
You should ask sewers that very question. Why did you buy this fabric?
I might do something with it someday.
I know I'm going to do something with it. I just haven't found the pattern for it yet.
Now, mini painters aren't the same way. Because many painters buy figures with a purpose of building that figure. It says right in the box what I'm going to get out of this. Now, some of us are excessive kit bashers. That's cool.
Helps out.
But when you buy a figure, you at least had a plan going in.
I still don't have a head to finish, to keep working on my kit bash for my leader of the Melodic.
We gotta get you in for that.
Yep. I need a head, and I need to be able to kit bash some hair onto her. Because new toy syndrome, as I like to call it.
And there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, Shadow Spear was pretty much new toys. Gimme.
All right.
But I pretty much completed that, except for the leaders, because I didn't need the leaders. It's funny. And yeah, that's the thing. We get this new toy syndrome. We really do. But you gotta finish stuff up at some point. And I'm not calling anyone out. I'm horribly guilty of it myself. So I thought it'd be a good idea for today to sit down with what we have on our bench.
So what directly is on the bench right now.
Talk about completion.
Okay, so then
and then finish it. Let's get on it and get it done.
4.
Yeah. Like you. That's all you have left for you. That is literally the last of your night hunt.
No,
right?
it's not. There's still a few more. I got another rider that came from the Soul Wars box. And
Are they primed?
Oh yeah, everybody's primed.
Okay, so let's finish an army. Or finish what you can in your case. So I'd say attack your night hunt. Get the rider done. Get the big dude done. How much work do you have left on him? A lot?
A lot. I still got to finish his base. There's the glazing that needs to go on the horse itself. The horse itself is almost done, unless you count his armor, which I still need to put a different coat on because I would like to make it silver, not gold, and I'll put the long base coat down on it.
Okay. So pick something and work on it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I'd say night hunt. You know why I say night hunt?
Mm.
So I can smash him with my Stormcats. Mm-hmm. Can I trouble you for a painting handle? So, that being said,
Are you sure I shouldn't try and finish up?
you should finish whatever you want, but you should pick something and finish it.
That's what I'm trying to pick.
Then do that.
I'm having a little bit of a problem with butterfly.
And that's a big problem that a lot of us do have. We'll get like a half dozen models and we'll try and work on them. Not everybody's as weird as I am. Not everybody tries to build 4 armies at the same time.
Well, no, because most of us aren't insane.
But there is a level of, hey, let's chill out and just paint. Just paint. Parchment. I need a fresh paper.
I don't have scissors over here. I don't know where they are.
It's okay, I got a razor.
Behind you. All right.
So here's the thing. There's no shame to having that stuff. I mean, we all know what we want to do. Gosh, I mean, I have a metric buttload of wolves underneath me.
He's putting it mildly.
I just started with my orcs, and I did a huge number of them in March and April. And I still got probably about half of what I purchased left to go on them. And again, it's not a big deal. It's, you know, I don't want people to think that I'm making like a, oh, you're not completing it, you suck. No, it's just one of those things that not completing projects and just having them mount up. After a while, you know, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to look at them because now they do become a thing of shame or a thing of anxiety. And this hobby is supposed to be fun. And when you're thinking about all this stuff I have to do, and you can't decide what you want to do because you don't know what's, you know, you don't have a plan, that's nobody's fault. But at some point, you kind of have to just get up and go, you know what? This is what I'm working on. And pick a piece and go. And I have been butterflying something awful lately because between my back and my work issues, I've been dealing with a bit of anxiety. So I've been kind of fluttering from piece to piece and not really focusing on any one. And that's not good. Because then you just get more anxiety out of something that's supposed to bring...
Hey, Mythos!
Hello, Mythos. So yeah, I figured today I'm just going to get as many of these Stormcats as I can get done today. I chose a pretty simplistic paint scheme for them for just this sort of issue. You know, I don't consider myself a great painter. I am a really functionally good painter. But I am not like a, oh, everybody should bow down, my paint skills are great. No. No, I'm not even the best painter in my house. But I am pleased with the effects I get. And in the end, that should always be who you judge yourself against. What was the last piece you did? How have you improved from that piece to this one?
Sorry, it's hard for me to see the. Here we go.
Need to try.
I can see it now. Well, the this was in my way.
Hello, Kaiser.
Kaiser.
And again, one of the reasons, you know, I've had people comment about how fast I paint. One of the reasons I paint as fast as I do is I don't pick really complex, really complicated paint schemes.
Are you trying to say my red paint scheme is complex?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I look at my orcs. My orcs paint scheme is blue. And then white and gunmetal. And that's 90% of the figures. And then I have very specific paints and very specific for different areas. Like all of the guys that are wearing pants, as opposed to being mechanized, all the guys that are wearing pants, all their pants are painted in the same color. All the boots, everybody has boots. Their boots are black. I just don't even mess with it. Everybody's right door. Yeah, that's what she's working on.
Kaiser wants to know what's the occasion, because we're not normally on.
The occasion we're on today is one, my back is so messed up that I'm not able to finish the tutorial I was working on. I'm working on a great tutorial for desert bases. I've got a wonderful scheme and a way of method of making really, really nice textured desert bases. I just haven't been able to work on it. I don't film everything right from here. Sometimes I got to work over there, and I have to set up different camera equipment than my webcam to work on it to get a good picture. And my back, I threw my back out earlier this week, and I can sit just fine. Sitting, no problem.
We apparently traded backs for a little bit.
But trying to stand up for a while, unsupported, my feet go numb, and I get shooting pains up and down my spine. If I try to walk for long periods of time, it just hurts. It hurts. So trying to stand up to film and to get better angles on things and getting the viewpoint on my camera, I just can't do it. I can't do it right now. So without having a tutorial for the week, we almost always, if we don't have a tutorial, we'll do we'll do it live. But like I said, the other reason we're doing this week is, again, some of the anxiety I've been having this last couple of weeks is that while I've been pinned in place, basically I sit down at the desk and I can use the roller chair to roll a chair between me and the 3D printer, but I'm basically stuck here most of the day. I don't want to sit on the couch because then I can't get to anything. I can't lay in bed. I'm one of those guys, I can't. I go nuts if I lay in bed. She'll tell you. I get I get unpleasant to deal with.
So I try and drug him.
Yeah. You know, but the thing is, the white scars, honestly, they are a pretty simple scheme. I mean, they're white, and then you're just putting some red triangles or some red slashes on them. That's not complicated. Now, if you were trying to do salamanders, I'd be looking at you like, okay, that's you. That's all on you. Flame effects. You do flame effects so easily and so quickly, it's not going to be an issue for you. She's doing salamanders. She's doing her Marines as a salamander's successor chapter, but she does such beautiful flame effects and such beautiful wet blending and does it so easily and effortlessly. It's not going to be an issue for her. But it's one of the reasons I love my wolves. Eggshell blue. I love that eggshell blue that they are. One red shoulder, one yellow shoulder, or in my older dudes, one black shoulder. And then I paint on some slashes and details here and there. Marines are easy to paint. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's when you get into people that really want to go nuts with their Marines, like the guys that have an armor where it's split 50-50 color. Or I saw one guy at the shop that he's got quartered. So it's this corner is white, and then this corner is white, and then this corner was black, and then that corner was red, and it was a really cool-looking scheme, and I'm like, I could never paint that. I would go nuts trying to get all those lines and details on there. But the big thing, like I said, is that getting yourself overwhelmed. I know people that really got into the hobby and loved the hobby, and then it fell out with the hobby because they overcommitted. There was a buddy of mine back in the day. A buddy of mine back in the day when I first got into 40K during second edition. He just absolutely loved the orcs. And he went and he must have dropped, and keep in mind, this is 1993 American prices. He dropped probably $300 to $400 on figures in one sitting. Today's figures, to put it in perspective, he bought effectively 6 boxes of boys, 3 boxes of knobs, a half dozen trucks, a battle wagon, a box with 3 Def Dreads, a box with 3 Killicans. I mean, he just bought effectively 2 Battle Force box sized amounts of figures. Just an insane amount of figures. And then he was going to paint them up. And he got them, and he built the first box of boys, and he painted them. And then he got into the second box of boys, and he built them, and he primed them. And he decided, well, it'd be easier just to paint everything all at once. Yeah. So he went and built 2 more boxes of boys, a box of knobs, and a truck. And after a while, he would just build them. He stopped priming them and just started playing with them.
Ethos is just saying how much he enjoyed.
That's very true. White is a very unforgiving color. It is one of the reasons that I don't paint a lot of white paint schemes. One of my initial ideas for my custodies, before I decided to just go with the classic gold and red, I had actually toyed with the idea of doing a custom paint scheme, and I had seen one that was this gorgeous white and blue. It was mostly white with a little bit of blue on it, and I really thought it was beautifully done. And then I remembered what a pain in the ass white is to paint, and I'm like,
Not it.
nope. Not when I can grab a can of Testors gold metal flake, old gold metal flake, and give my guys a prime with that, and then hit them with some dull coat and start painting them up from there. And they turned out great. But I mean, that's the thing. He got overwhelmed, and after like 2 years of him having one painted unit, about another third of his army primed, and the rest of it built, and the building was even getting to the point where we're stressing him out. He ended up finding a guy and sold it all to him and just said, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm going to be the guy that still buys more figures. But I do know one of my big issues is that I build figures
When you're stressed.
when I'm stressed or having anxiety. I find building figures to be a huge stress relief for me, because I can just mindlessly build and throw things together and not really even have to think twice about it. The building part is probably the easiest part of the thing for me. So I will sit and build and build and build and build, and
He doesn't know what to do with himself because he has all of these things built, and there are boxes everywhere with mostly built armies.
everything's built, just nothing's painted. And then I prime them, and then I'll get to them
Eventually.
and you make fun of the fact that hey, I built up a lot of figures, or I painted a lot of figures in one short period of time a couple weeks ago. That took a huge concerted effort on my part. I may paint faster than some people, but most of those figures are already primed and built. All I had to do was sit down and actually throw paint on them. And as much as I love painting, and I do love painting, I don't want to say otherwise. I love painting. There are days when I have to be in the right mindset to do it, and sometimes it takes an easy paint scheme to get me going. Like Custodes were possibly, I had some people comment about how quickly I got to do his Custodes. You don't understand. That Custodes paint scheme is so simple. I mean, the Custodes are probably the easiest army I've ever painted. They're almost nothing to them. 90% of the figure is gold that I then wash in strong tone quick shade, and then give it a very slight dry brush in Runefang silver. Done. The figure that's 90% of the figure. That's so little to do. I do a couple pieces in red and a couple things. I do a heavier brush in silver. That's it. They're really, there's nothing to. There's really not a lot to a Custodes figure to make it look good. You can always take it higher, but that's the other thing is that, and I'm a tabletop standard painter. I mean, if I want to paint something and go nuts about it because I want to do it for competition, or I want to go like HQs, I may spend more time on, but I'm generally okay with just tabletop standard. I want to get these figures and get them done, and I want to play with them.
Times like these, I feel like I'm being made fun of.
No, not making fun of you. You take far more effort and far more interest in making your figures. I mean, and it shows. I'm not, again, it's why I plainly say, my love, you are a better painter than I am. I am a very functional painter. I can get a figure that looks good. I can do some great kit bashes. I can do some great terrain. I think in the individual character figures, I think you do, head and shoulders above what I do, and I'm happy for that. Took me a while to get to that point, and I'll be honest with you. A lot of people want to paint every piece like it's a competition. I can't do that. Because I want to get my figures on the table and start playing them. And I don't want them to look bad. I don't sit there and just spray them in a single color, dunk them in wash, dry brush them, and we're done. I'm not that level of painting. I do care. I put in detail. I put in a scheme.
Dunk them in a bottle of normal oil and you're finished.
Yeah, I'm not that level of not caring, but at the same time, I want to get playing. And as long as I have figures to paint, I got an army that's not done yet. Ooh, you and I need to talk then. Excellent.
Do not drink the paint water. It will not taste good.
Nom, nom, nom. But yeah, so the whole thing that prompted this today was I was trying to find a box of Space Wolves that I had half built a while back. And I'm like, because I want to get working on my wolves, because I want to get my wolves done and ready for 9th. I want to have all of the wolves I currently own complete when 9th drops. I have a box that I had 2 squads of claws, Grey Hunters in it, that I couldn't find. I primed them. I had done a base coat on their armor. I couldn't find them. I'm going nuts. Where the hell are they? And
I would like to point out at this point, I went, are you sure they're not under where on the workbench under where you sit?
And they're not.
No, I looked.
And they weren't.
Where were they?
They were in the toolbox. So I have a toolbox that I use for taking miniatures to and from events.
And because we haven't done any events recently, we stuck a bunch of things that were kind of backburnered in said.
While we were trying to build the table and reorganize the game room, we'd stuck some stuff in there. I had not realized that one of the things I stuck in there was an entire project box. And I guess that's part of the other thing we should talk about, organizing and project boxing. One of the ways to not get overwhelmed, and it's unfortunately what I've been doing, and I still get overwhelmed because I got too many of them. But one of the ways to keep yourself from getting overwhelmed is having project boxes. You go to a dollar store or pound store for my UK people, and go buy some what they call plastic shoe boxes. I can't even good. They're just simple plastic lidded boxes. They're usually very cheap. And get one for each box, each project you're working on, so that you don't have pieces and parts and whatnot get together. Like I've got all my wolves in one box. I've got all my orcs in another box. I've got all my orc terrain in yet another box. I had all my Stormcats in another box. Once you build them, once you start on them, it just keeps them in a single area so that you can look in that box and see exactly what's left to be done. And again, obviously, this is after you've taken them off the sprues and you've already built them.
I have 3.
I have like 7.
But then, bear in mind, folks, most of my shit's not even off the sprues yet.
But that's the thing. That's actually a good thing. Because I worry build, I have a lot of figures that are done. They're built. They're primed. They're ready to go. And then they go sit in a box. And they don't get work done. Those of you that remember my No Bolter November, remember when I started these guys. I still have 17 left to them to do.
Yes, his is
The Gamecraft Dragon,
and I am Lady Dragon _28.
Yes. I will even pick up a bad habit from Mythos. When he's looking for something and he's talking, Mythos, I got a better drinking game than the you write drinking game. Every time Mythos goes,
When did we do the you're right drinking?
well, then we've been talking about that as the new
Holy balls, we would be so drunk in minutes.
the new. I'm going to quick throw a link up. For Instagram. And throw it here. Oh, you did find us both. Okay.
What's thanks to you, Commodore?
The drinking game.
Oh,
the drinking game was his idea.
You know, I can't really say much because, as you all know, I like playing app games on my cell phone. And because marketing works on me, I ended up picking up this one called The Whys of Crude. It's like a train wreck and you can't look away. You want to uninstall the game, but at the same time, you want to know where the story's going to go. Whole thing, you're playing a character that was selected to join the royal harem of the newly crowned emperor in 73 AD China. After your aunt helped the former emperor's brother attempt to steal the throne and killed the former emperor. So now you start off as just a concubine and now I'm the royal consort, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, very active community. And we started this thing where I decided that I dislike the emperor so much and his empress that I want to feed them both to a tiger and be done with it. And so now I'm known as the lady with the tiger on my server because whenever something stupid happens, someone goes, "Up, get the tiger." It's tiger feeding time. And it's like, oh boy. And then somehow I got suckered into doing a fan art of a tiger wearing a kitten's color that says Harpo 2 on it. So Harpo is the character that's in the game that ends up getting killed, that ends up getting taken away, and because his owner dies. And it's actually, I mean, like, holy crap, the story in this game is amazing. But it makes me want to flip a table.
But here's the thing. She got sucked into this game, and so she's been neglecting her hobby time.
The hell I have been. I've been working on a health
Then what was the point you were making? I'm asking you a question.
He's telling a friggin' story. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. You started off making it sound like you were making a point about something. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I misunderstood. It happens. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. We were on a topic and you changed topics. I mean, I missed the channel change there. All right. You'll do this, Mythos. Like you go back to look at and I'm gonna check the chat here. You do this melodic humming as you're quickly trying to read over the comments, trying to find something good to comment on. It's funny. It's not a problem. It's funny. That's what I'm saying. I do. That's what I was just saying. I I was noticing that. Yeah, I'm noticing I was doing that as I was looking for something. I started doing the mythos. I started melodically humming to myself while I'm trying to form a thought. It's hilarious. So yeah, I mean, the hobby can be overwhelming if you let it get to you. And completionism will help. Taking a project through to the end. Even if you're running multiple projects at one time, and again, I'm not telling anybody don't do multiple projects at one time, because I'd be the first to tell you that's not going to work for me. I constantly I will constantly have to jump from project to project sometimes just to stay motivated to work on stuff. But the problem is that if you've got too many projects and you're jumping and nothing's getting done, and then you start to resent projects. One of the things I realized recently was that I was starting up on another project, and I had enough other projects that I didn't need one, so I completely backed off of it. I was looking at doing a chapter compliant, an Iron Hands successor chapter, and I was working on all this lore, and I was building and painting some figures, and working on paint schemes, and working on naming structures, and doing all this stuff. And I realized I'm building myself another Space Marine army from the ground up. I don't need another Space Marine army. I have, in my opinion, the best Space Marine army there is. And I have so many things I want to do with the Space Marine army I have. Why do I need a second army? Oh, because I want to build something. Because building something will distract me from things that are bothering me. She does such good work. She's such an amazing painter. And I don't say this to be silly. I mean it. She is just an incredibly talented painter. I love watching her work. She's still mad at me. Mm-hmm. Still mad at me, huh? She's still mad at me. All right. So, and that's the thing. I think a lot of us are. I think a lot of us in this hobby are really bad about half-finished projects. Marketing works on us. We see the brand new box, the brand new release, the brand new army, the brand new thing getting love from GW or another gaming company, and we go, oh, I gotta, and we fall on that hype train. I'm terrible about it. I mean, I've literally had to make a rule for myself where unless it's for something I have existing, I will not buy something brand new that would be the cause of a new army the day it comes out. Okay, new models. Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about new models. I was trying to segue into that, but we'll get there. Yeah, new models. Which am I stoked about? All of them. Oh, I'm looking at my wolf box of stuff. I'm looking at my wolf box stuff and all my parts and all my pieces parts. The assault intercessors are awesome. They're going to be great. They're going to look like big boy blood claws, and I'm excited for that. The shield guys and the new captain. Oh, I cannot wait to grab some green stuff and some texture tools and my bits box and really wolf those guys up. But before I do that, I got to play somebody for them.
They're going to be my salamanders.
She wants it for salamanders, and it's a good starting force for salamanders unit as well. I mean, it's good for anybody. So we're gonna set up a match. We're either gonna do it just before 9th drops, so we can do it 1,000 points of old rules, or we're gonna wait until 9th drops itself, and then do like a 500 point to 1,000 point 9th edition rules. Patrol or whatever the 1,000 point game is. It's going to be her Yanari. Probably versus my Death Guard. Because
I need to make more vehicles.
My Death Guard hate elves. I hate elves so much. Part of that comes to the fact that Chris, one of the guys you play with, is a really, really good elves player. And his Drukari gave me fits. So
every time.
He managed to pull out every game right at the end. He just, something you would do right at the end. I had one game done, no way. And he pull him out of his butt rolls right at the end of the game and passed me by 1 point. Right at the end of the game.
I would also like to point out this is the man who won our league.
And he won the league. Even though he wasn't the first place player, because every game you won, you got a number of drawings. And that was what he might have been the overall winner. I don't know if he was the overall winner on his stats, but he also won the freaking night. The winner of the tournament. The winner of get the most draws, and there was a drawing for a knight.
It was hilarious.
And he got the knight, and I was
like, wow, he was the luckiest SOB I have ever
It was
met.
unbelievable. I had him beaten to death.
They did a 3-way match where he literally spent the entire game with his Drukari skirting the outside of the board, or he would take his flyers and he'd go straight through the middle, just opening fire on everything as he was zooming by, and then he stayed on the reaches. And he just let them kill each other.
And he wasn't scoring any points.
And then at the very end,
I'm in the middle of the board scoring point after point after point after point. I had such a lead at that point.
Takes out the second player, and then here comes Chris swooping in and freaking owns D's Death Guard in the last minute.
Well, he doesn't even own me. He manages to sneak onto all of the objective points and score some very lucky dice rolls to keep a couple guys alive.
Yep.
So that he scored points. And then the game only would end on a 1. And if it had gone to a 2, if we'd gone to another round, I would have won. But if he roll a 1, the game ends there. He rolls a 1. And it was just like, I can't. I was so mad.
I was like, oh, so that's how you play them. He was massive. You know what? I'm not doing it anymore on this thing. I'm tired of fighting with it. So
But so yeah, the new models, everything Indomitus. I'm so excited for them. If she gets them for her, her salamanders, I'm excited for her because they look like really great models. If I get them for my wolves,
he's even more excited.
I'm as excited. It just means we only have to buy one box. Well, we probably have to buy 2 boxes eventually anyhow.
I was about to say.
The problem is that we have a... Dude, I love Death Guard. I mean, coming back into 8th, that was what I started with. And I have a massive Death Guard force. I love Death Guard. I'm really looking forward to the book with all the new stuff in it for them. But yeah, trying to stick on the new models. We have a Necrons player in our house, and the Plague Child loves Necrons. And they are super excited. They're just about done with their start collecting box, and they have a 500-point army at this point. They actually have a 600-point army. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest problem is that Indomitus box is meant to be limited edition. So the problem is that going to be limited? So what's the starter box going to be? I think that's the biggest question we keep going back and forth with, because they're not going to go in edition without a starter box. So if the Indomitus box is going to be limited, what's the starter box going to be? So we know when the Indomitus drops, we're going to be buying one right off the bat. We're going to be pre-ordering and getting one Indomitus box. And Al, that's true with some stuff. The way GW does it is that everything they release in a box set, eventually they will re-release it later in individual breakups. One of the big reasons to buy the big box sets is
there's oftentimes something extra
because you get a big price break on the big box sets, and there are often unique figures that you can't get for 6 months to a year until afterwards. That they'll release the HQ pieces. Now, in the case of the Dark Imperium box, there's still a bunch of figures from that box they haven't released as individual figures. You can't get them, which was one of the reasons I was looking to pick up a second box of that. Now that it's unlimited, I don't know what we're going to do, because there's actually a bunch of Marines that I wanted that were in that box that you can't get otherwise. They're doing a large enough print. They were saying in the stream that they're going to be doing a larger print. It's not going to be like the Sisters box. This is not something that's going to be sold out in an hour. They're doing a large enough run that it'll be available to get, but they won't be around for long. I'm lucky. I have 3 separate sources for where to get one. And at least one of the stores that I know, I mean, they had a Sisters box. I keep going back to Sisters boxes. In recent memory, that is the one box set that got released lately that was a lot of negative because of how quickly it sold out. There's one store in our area that had a Sisters of Battle box set. They had it on their shelves for 3 to 4 months after the sellout happened. So we have a source for at least getting, obviously, one. Plus the fact we have a GW store in town, so the day it goes for pre-order, we'll be able to get it there. We'll be able to pre-order it right there and make sure we get a copy. Our bigger question is, do we end up ordering 2? That way, one of us gets we both get what we want, and then the Plague Child is going to get a mound of Necrons, and we'll never get Necrons again.
Well, see, that also really heavily relies on whether or not I'm ready for that. Because y'all know me. This side of the figure's actually almost done.
Right. Plus the fact, I mean, you still have your Phoenix box that you haven't even cracked into yet.
Yep.
So that, I mean, your Phoenix box, I'm not saying that you don't want to do your salamanders, because I know you want to do your salamanders.
I want my Yanari more.
But you want your Yanari, and you still have the Phoenix box to crack into.
Stop picking. Hi, Minnie.
Manny Morma.
Hi,
But yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be the new box set, so the scalpers and the eBay guys are going to jump all over it. I'll be honest, like I said, I'm excited for the entire set. There seems to be a heavy melee focus in that box set. As a Wolves player, I want the whole box. I mean, they're saying melee is going to become a lot better in 8th, mid-9th. And from everything I've seen, the rules that they've shown so far, I see where they're going with it, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I'm not gonna lie there. I mean, we'll see. But I also have to go by the fact that they went through multiple play testers, and they weren't in-house play testers, which is a big deal. They went to outside source play testers and went, hey, try and break this and tell us what you think of it. Which I think for them...
Testers is eliminating all of their model master paint lines, including the acrylics.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's a good rate.
They're still going to have their sprays, though, aren't they? Yeah, I kind of hope they'll do an extended release like Dark Imperium. I mean, you could still buy Dark Imperium now. I mean, it's still easy to get Dark Imperium. There is some serious thought to trying to pick up another Dark Imperium box now before it becomes the outdated edition. Not because I want the book, but because there's a lot of really good figures in there for very inexpensive. It's still a really good army. And if nothing else, if nothing else, it's a really good start for a Salamander's army as well.
Now, you show you like all the models. What about the egghead on the Justicar? Judicar?
The Judicar. You know, the guy that I said is my favorite figure in the box?
Oh, him.
Yes. I'm going to tell you right now, the Judicar is my favorite figure in the box. I love him walking up with that huge executioner's sword like he is just going to end some heretics. Now, here's the thing. To put a wolfy aspect on him, I may have to pull that egghead if I'm able to and put a wolf-like hairdo head on him.
Carve some runes into that sword.
The sword has runes in it. It just has Latin runes. So
I would like to say that every single time I see that figure, you know how I can think is? I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Yeah, that Judicar, I love that figure. I think he is an absolutely gorgeous figure. That's the whole thing. I can say I do see from some people's perspective, and I won't say they're wrong. There have been complaints lately of yes, Ian, that is scale model master. You know, that's the thing. I really like the elves, the Illuminary elves, but I don't need another Order Force. I really like my Stormcast.
I just can't get over the ridiculous.
The horns and the bullheads and that. Yeah, I don't know. I like them, but I get it.
I'm having a hard time getting over that part.
But again, it's all about the hype machine. The thing is that for whatever reason, something is misfired on this hype machine because I'm not hearing anybody hype for the Lumen FLs. And they were at first, and then they started showing all these bull helms and these bull horns and these and the big cow helm thing, and a lot of people are like, nope.
I mean, I'm looking at it's like some of them looked really cool, and then they're showing me the Magus one, and I'm seeing this little itty bitty boy where the figure is like this freaking tall, and I'm going, no.
That's gonna snap in a heartbeat.
I don't like what happened to my dragon.
Yeah, I that's the one thing. One of the things, yeah, Judicar is just gorgeous. One of the big things I do have to say, one of the big noticeable issues I've had. I know I disagree. You can have a really cool cow themed army.
If they were mentors.
Actually, a Chaos Beastman army.
Okay, that works.
Where you were doing a theme where they all paint them all look like Guernseys would be hilarious.
They're hard to take serious.
And that's what's the worst part about them. They're corns. Angry cows.
Hey, Beth, remember that time when you said you thought that cow was going to eat you? Yeah, it turns out he really was.
One of the biggest complaints I've heard about a lot of their newer releases, and again, this is a taste thing, but GW has really kind of gone out of their way to really kind of hype the fact that their manufacturing process lets them put far more small details onto some of these figures. Now, the biggest joke I've heard about it was they kept going on and on and on about with the Judicar, how there's 17 separate skulls on that one figure. Here's the thing. I like Age of Sigmar. I really do. I like the second edition. And the updated rules for it. I actually like the rules. There's a really dedicated. There's almost nothing in there.
I just need a little bit.
Well done, Minnie.
Ooh, wow.
Time management. Yeah. I thought you wanted time management. If you wanted time management, you wouldn't be playing WoW. Yeah. Oh, have a good time. Have a good time, Warmutt.
Be nice, because we were thinking about going back and playing a couple of twins.
I can't believe you would tell people that. Okay.
Happily, repeatedly, and in a heartbeat.
Sorry, quick trying to figure out where I'm at on here. So yeah, the new figures. There have been I've heard people complain about the figures being too busy. That I mean, one of the biggest complaints I've seen in this is a battle is that all the figures are so busy that there's so much more effort to paint. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. And then I got Sister Amelia, the lone plastic sister they released a couple months before the box, just to give people a taste. And I'm gonna have to agree a little bit. I tried painting that figure, and I'm like, this has for a single plastic figure that's not an elite, not an HQ. It's just basically a unit sergeant, the squad leader. This has an insane amount of detail. Now, that's not always bad. It's really not. But at the same time, you can go too far. I think there is a point where you can get with a figure where there's so much detail that a new painter or a new person in the hobby is saying, these guys sound really good. These are what I want to play. And they take one look at that figure after they get that primer on it, and they start to get in there with that paintbrush. They're like,
1, 2, 3, not it.
There's so much on there. And maybe they will try and paint it up, but because there's so many details and it's their first figures, because that's the army they wanted to play, because that is what GW promotes, play the army you want to play. Those Systems of Battle are not easy figures to paint. You know, Ian, and that's the thing. I mean, I look at my wife here. She paints what she wants to paint. I'm lucky in that she will play, but she's also a very talented painter. So she doesn't mind. We're spending time on the 3D printer, putting together large scale figures, because she really just enjoys painting the figurines. I gave her my sister Amelia because I stripped it and I'm like, I can't do this. I gave it back to her. I can't do this figure.
This one.
You know, so she
still like my newest one, but I have not quite to her yet.
So I mean, that's the thing. I understand the enjoyment of painting. I get it. It's not my gig. Yeah. The 3D printer is a joy, but at the same time, yeah, that thing's been running basically nonstop since we got it. Oh, the print job just ended.
I just realized I wasn't hearing it.
It just ended. So I'll tell you what, while I'm clearing and sitting next to you, get to talk to the folks.
About what?
The lovely, whatever you want to talk. You're co-host. Use your brain. Use that wonderful, big, lovely brain of yours.
He's so nice. So yeah, I guess I'm talking to you guys now, and I'm not entirely sure about what.
Well, talking about projects, talking about project completion, talking about planning.
Well, one of the things that I've done recently is I actually was able to complete a commissions-based drawing that I had received. So I'm very excited about that. It's now scanned in and is in the process of being colored, which is really, really nice. It was a piece for a custom Space Wolf design by our dear friend Hellworks of Hellchild. So, I mean, if you guys want to see it, I'll happily go grab it out of my car. I just realized it's still in the car. But so that means I am actually going to be starting a second one soon. And I've got this figure here that I'm also working on as a commission piece. Here we go. She is a 200% figure that was designed by the Artisans Guild. And man, am I having way too much fun with her. Got a couple of others. I mean, I've got 3 named Cornates sitting on my desk. I've got 12 Corn Berserkers, 11 Wraithglaves, and I've got 10 Lust Elves sitting behind me also for me to be working on. And so I'm kind of trying to take it slow, if that's such a thing with me. And it's been interesting trying to jump between, in my case, because a lot of my projects also aren't just miniature painting. I've got a fanfic that I've been writing, 2 more that I've designed. I've got, you know, a number of commissions that have been given to me, 3 paintings I'm supposed to start. Well, that I've started, I need to finish them. I butterfly a lot, and my time management skills, unlike our dear friend Minnie Warmutt, suck. Which is one of the reasons why I don't tend to play MMOs right now, because, well, as much as I love playing MMORPGs, especially with my husband and my friends, I get a little sucked in. So I'm trying to work my way through. I mean, I've been working on this guy now for a while, and this particular portion of it is just about done. You guys saw him earlier. I need to work a little bit on his armor, but I can't finish the armor up until after the writer himself is actually add on. And then we'll probably be doing a showcase for him as well. With this character, I did something a little bit different than I've done with my other Night Haunts, is I've been trying to let the shadows and whatnot tell the story, because I have a habit of highlighting my stuff. And yeah. And yes, Kaiser, butterfly hobbying is, I believe, essential, because that's pretty much the only reason I haven't. I mean, I did I'm going to sit down and I'm going to, grind through my Drukhari so I can play my 500 point army. I lost a succubus in the process and a squad of 10 witches. Yeah, plastic cement glue, when it breaks, will cause minis to melt. And it's not fun. He wanted to keep it for a terrain piece, because I had 7 witches and a succubus melt. And he's like, look, it's a Nurgle vat. And I'm like, shut up. So, it also doesn't help that I have a series of things that I'm working on for friends just as gifts. Because I really love this community. I don't know if I can fully, properly express how much I love the community that I have been brought into, be it if you do miniature, or if you do scale models, Gundams, whatever. The whole community as a whole is so wonderful and so supportive of one another. It's amazing. And there have been some people that have supported me that I felt I needed to give thanks to. Mythos and Freak at Frost and Fist. Those guys were very big on encouraging me to get more involved. Kaiser as well. Kaiser was the one who's encouraged me to be a lot more bold with sharing my art and my painting, which has been so much fun. The miniatures paintbrush, Rob, TMP. He just, a man who is studying art, who I got honest opinion before he ever really even knew me about some of my painting skills, to help boost that confidence. And it's been wonderful. It's also been really nice to be able to find people that is able to relate to, because I have found that a lot of people within the community suffer from anxiety, depression, mental health issues on a variety of the spectrum. And this community is very supportive for people like that, and I think it's wonderful. But at the same time, I butterfly something up hard. And to quote Mythos and Freak, my ADD this thing up, man. I mean, I'm still trying to get him to reprint me a new cut of Sicarius.
It will be.
What's that? You finally got it? Yay! So, like, we found these STLs, and this is what he is at 100%. He's not very big at all. But it's a little cat wearing a Space Marine helmet, bell collar that's got the Ultramarine symbol on it. Originally, he had the fanned headdress, but I accidentally broke it off. And his name is Gato Sicarius. And now I want him much bigger, so I can paint him and then kit bash the crap out of him and make him a variety, make him one for, the different sex. I think would be so funny. A little salamander kitty and a space wolves and a white scar. And I think it would just be cute because he's just sitting here with his little helmet and his little bell collar. and he's really, really fat. I mean, like, holy crap, he's a fat cat. His belly sits on the ground.
You know the WD-40 is?
No, I didn't even know we had him.
We do.
Oh, as well.
Print failed. It was not because the bed wasn't inside. It's because my rod needs to be lubricated.
I'm going to point out 2 things that you just did there.
I know
you
exactly
better
what
be
I did.
really happy Zane's not in the chat right now. Wow. No, I do not know what the WD-40 is.
All right.
Sorry. Maybe we can go get some after we're done with the stream.
Yeah. So until then, I'm not printing anymore.
You might want to cover it. So
I'm going to cover it and turn it off.
Yeah.
So, things to keep in mind when 3D printing.
We're learning as we go, by the way. He's learning.
Get, when you purchase your printer, immediately purchase extra films for your test bed and lubricate your rod often. Or get yourself some of that the silicate grease that can give that rod one real nice gripping fill of lubrication, and it should last a good long time. Multiple uses. I'm not gonna leave it once.
I'm sorry because I watch way too much.
My
of
wife
the Emperor has text to speech. I'm listening to him talk, and I'm hearing one of the custodians.
Jeez.
Kaiser's worse. Lubricate your rod often. Important advice for all the boys. Ooh, okay. That was.
If you don't lube your rod, it'll get stuck.
Lube that pole. See, I've got the custodians. We've got the custodians.
Because the reality is that rod is just a great big screw. So it needs to be lubricated so that it doesn't get stuck. And the last thing you want is your screw to get stuck.
Oh, you didn't see the hand motions that went originally along with this one. Everybody, our hope dealer, Plague Child, also gives. It's also very loved by Nurgle and all of his many illnesses, and tends to spread them around the house. Just don't cross-thread it.
If you cross-thread it, that thing's going in and never coming back out. Not unless you get a pry bar or some real heat.
I'm pretty sure your brother was talking about something else. Oh, can you go deal with the whining jackass? Whew. I needed that laugh. And I'm really happy that Freak was able to swing by and give it to you. I would love it if you guys could video call us somehow so we can see your reactions to you guys opening it.
Or just do a video for the video reaction.
Or they can do that too. But I mean, I would just, I think it would be, I really am very excited to see how the boys, for those of you who don't know, I decided to, as I'd mentioned, I like painting. I like painting very much.
Mythos, in the words of a very wise man, you do you.
No, get Lily to help you, honey. She'll appreciate the thought.
You hold the rod, let her lube it.
I've been practicing my whole life for this one.
The question is that Mythos and Freak?
I don't know. I can't tell which one that is. I know Freak was here at one point,
Yeah.
Al. I don't know which one was just commenting about the 3D printer needing
Can you go out to the car, check the back seat and the trunk for WD-40?
And while you're in the car, can you bring in my portfolio?
Yes.
I appreciate your assistance for that.
So yeah, apparently
It's a very high pollen count today, and somebody who has asthma was very sweet and mowed the front yard for us. So they're trying to make sure they can breathe.
we just want to make sure that we do have it said that as long as they're 17, it's okay for minors to handle the lube.
You're going to record it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, I'm happy you guys are going to record it, because otherwise I'm going to be like, you guys are calling us. I want to see your reactions. Hello, hello. Doggo.
Are you feeling lonely, doggo boy? I don't want you.
Can't. Daddy can't give you hugs right now. So, for those of you who have yet met him, this is our executive producer, Apollo. He's coming down to check on the process of the stream.
He also thinks he's a lap dog. Do you see how large this dog is? He believes he is a lap dog.
He thinks he's the size of Bilal, our Pomchi, whose real name is actually Artemis, but she whines too much, so I call him Bilal. Oh. What is it? What are you shaking about? What is it? Did you hear something? It doesn't. So, yes, this is our executive producer. Was that the... Ah! Okay, backing up. That was all Mythos. That was all a Mythos nuttiness. All right. So, look.
No canister recording?
All right. So, my wicked darlings, this is a piece of
It's completed.
completed commission that was done. You guys have seen it before in an uncompleted state. But here is the commission, and it's full colored, well, not colored, inked in, uncolored glory that will be going to Hellchild, who I very much thank for the opportunity to make this picture for him. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Thank you, Ian. Yeah, no, he's a doofus, but he's a beautiful and wonderful puppy. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Disney, why are you putting it on my face?
Yeah, licking your face. Licking your face. So
He's a good boy.
yes. So now I've got 2 more to work on. I can start doing the line work for it. One is for Rob at TMP. He's asked for a bunch of icon headshots that I need to print those pictures so that I can try a couple of different styles with it. And one for our dear Smash Captain, our moderator, he who sits in high orbit with the phalanx, our Commodore, who has requested a picture of his knights and their house symbols.
Inside I am asleep.
So that's the next one up on my list of stuff to do. I keep a very careful record of who has made requests and what the requests are. That way nobody gets passed up or in the order that they have been made in. So, and then recently I started doing these figures also. So it's more just for the fun than anything else. Yes, he is a beautiful. Could I do a World War II comic book style? Probably.
I can give you the bunch of samples of it.
Yeah, no.
Her main style is comic book style. Actually, that's the
Yeah.
funny thing.
I recently taught myself how to do Kaiser. I believe you've seen them. I taught myself how to do the Art Nouveau style, which was made popular back in the 1920s to the 1940s. I can do manga style, comic style. I did recently teach myself how to do chibi style, which I'm working on a group picture of all of the Primarchs in chibi form. No, and then there's one that I'm designing this for a shirt, but it's going to be the four Chaos Gods with the Emperor in the middle, all chibi formed, and underneath it says, "Who's your daddy?"
It's going to be so funny.
So yeah, Art Nouveau is probably one of my favorite things to do. I also recently decided I'm going to try to design a tarot deck of original characters of mine in that style as well. So wish me luck on that. That one's going to be a long, arduous process because I need to do some research on how best to approach that particular thing. But yeah, no, I could probably do something in World War II comic style. Kaiser, hit me up on Instagram if you're interested in me with any ideas, and I'll be happy to work something else. Figure out the best way to do it for you. And and Mythos, that's right. Plague Child's going to be playing with your picture, coloring it in. So, because Plague Child really wants to do that.
Andy's quite good at it. Point out. That is something I have been trying to tell her.
I
for
do
a while.
have in Facebook Messenger. Email is probably your best way to get a hold of me. Instagram is for young people. Tell me about it.
Hey now.
The only reason I'm on it is because this man told me to get on.
And I'm telling you, Kaiser, you're my age. I realized after looking at your stuff, you and I are basically the same age. So don't give me that you young people crap.
I would like to point out that, thank you, Mythos, for that very sweet thing. And you were thinking about talking to me about that already?
Yep.
The only reason I'm on Instagram is because my friends.
That would be fun.
So for email,
your best way to get a hold of me,
Adrian.drake@gmail. I'll get it to her. She checks my email for me half the time. So
it's because this man never checks his messages, never listens to his voicemails, never looks at his text messages.
Never.
He really does. It's like 3 days later, I'll get a text responding to me. And it's like, honey, that was 2 days ago. Ugh.
It was a text.
So apparently Apollo has decided that the makeup director and art designer, color designer of the staff crew needs serious love, and like the true pit that he is, has pounced the child.
He actually wants me down.
Never returns phone calls. This is a true statement, Al, or makes phone calls.
Now I feel like you're ganging up on me.
Now that he's the worst at reaching out too.
This is just revenge for you two ganging up on my ass. That one frost and fist. Oh, she's a stress cleaner. When she gets stressed, I have to give it a shit.
It's true. It's just like the things we're talking about. Dad is.
We're not wrong.
Exactly. Just like that me and you are not wrong. The fact that Dad is horrible at reaching out.
Actually, I would like to point out that I have been very angsty and that I was almost about to start cleaning when he went, "No, honey, we're going to do an effort."
I honestly only got in, in all fairness, the only reason I got into Insta was when I started painting figures, because it's the easiest way to get traction for a channel.
That was one of the things, that's the reason I got into it, is that it was highly suggested so that I could share my artwork out there with people. and whatnot. So that's how that happened for me.
This bad boy intimidates me. He's huge.
You've got to be kidding me.
He's huge.
Don't mind me, I'm just looking at him to see what else I can work on him before his rider gets added on and the last few of his details get cleaned up.
So, yeah.
I did not know attachment. What?
No, it just startled me.
I didn't know that was attachable. I used to buy almost anything attachable.
And you know, here's the thing I would say about 75% of the stuff I do is mainly just to do table ready. Kaiser, I build my models to play with them. I do take my time on some of them, but like I did my Imperial Guard, and my Imperial Guard, they look good. But I even mentioned that the night before. How do you paint Imperial Guard to look like U.S. Army? Olive green, wash them, done.
Where's the rider? Why am I not seeing? There he is.
He's right there. Just responding as if she texted.
I'm gonna abandon him and let him do this himself.
But you know, part of the joy of the figures is their beauty. But the other big part is completion. I mean, again, when you're working towards completion, it can do a lot for your mental state to get them done. Which is why today is happening. I want to get through these guys before I go back to anybody else. So I want to finish up my Stormcast, be 100% done with my Stormcast army. I don't really have. What's the matter?
Paint and painting by the tackle. So it's not letting me.
Gotcha. Don't feel bad about not getting stuff done, but don't let it overwhelm you either. Sometimes you do. You just gotta take a break, do a palate cleanser. I get that, but don't let your backlog overwhelm you either.
Like me.
Sit down and finish a unit. Just pick one unit. Pick a unit, finish it, knock it out, get it done. And then that's one thing to take off your to-do list.
I never varnish these days. I always think I put it.
Could have gone back later today and highlights. I base dry brush wash next layer. Maybe edge highlights under the extra details. The Death Guard rust patch is never too extreme. See, my Death Guard, I've got a formula for my Death Guard, because my Death Guard are sweaty. They're all my whole idea that they're the inexorable choir of delirium. They are the disease they specifically suffer from. They all are running a super high fever. So their skin is flush. I do like a pale skin tone and then flush it with a bright purple wash, and then highlight that with pale skin again, and then run a little bit of a Carisburg, not Carisburg Crimson, yeah, Carisburg Crimson, or just around the edge where it meets the armor, just to make it look swollen and distended. The armor is all pretty much the Death Guard green, highlighted, and then washed in Agrax. And all the weapons, most of the weapons are, if it moves, if it's a piece that moves, it's in a silver tone. If it is in a if there's a piece that doesn't move, like it's armor or armor edging or whatnot, Well, Playchair's got some pretty cool stuff done. I mean, they've got most of their Necrons done, and they've got a very distinct paint scheme they're doing with their entire army.
Their dynasty is very unique.
No green. No green at all. Blue. They didn't like the green. They're doing blue. So we went and got rods to replace the warriors' weapons, which is neat considering next issue you won't need them anymore. They're getting rid of the rods in the guns. So pretty cool. But yeah, can you hand me one of my boxes? Yeah, can you hand me one of my boxes of Death Guard?
Yeah. You.
Make sure it's troops.
Yeah. That's them, right?
I think so. Yes. Yeah, I have. Oh, perfect. One of my Blight Lord Terminators. Perfect. It's a great way to show off the paint scheme. I have a very distinct paint scheme with my Death Guard. Cloths are dirty whites. Sometimes I'll use reds. But the flesh is often, just a very swollen red flesh color using browns and greens. I really do love the Death Guard. I think they are just such a beautiful and dynamic army, and I mean that exactly the way I say it. They're beautiful. Their design is just obscenely beautiful. But then I give them all a gloss coat when they're done because I want them to look like they're just profusely sweating in buckets. And then I give them all unique bases with my the worms with the holes and the bugs and pus.
It's disgustingly amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I did red for some of them. Like, I mean, this guy, his cloak is in the red. I used reds and whites. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I used reds and whites, but lots of grossness. They're all supposed to be very sweaty, very sticky. I also did some custom sculpting. Like, I needed another flail guy, so I took an old Chaos Marine with an axe. I converted the axe into a flail. I didn't like his head, so I just cut it off and gave him a bug head with a gaping maw. I removed one of his arms and kind of gave him like a snout on his arm. And
That's really good at that.
It's hard to see, but there's like little prickers inside of the snout hand, so he can like grab things. Like an elephant would grab with his trunk, but he's got little like lamprey teeth in his little things. So, the Chaos Lord. Yes. The Chaos Lord actually, out of the 7th edition box set, I had a copy of that. I turned him into a Nurgle Lord, so I did his cloak in purple because I was really liking purple and green together. The 3 colors. Yeah. It ends up working out. Like I said, I really love my army. I was super excited when I finally got Typhus and was able to give him some great love. And I apologize for the potato. The camera doesn't really focus it real well, but yeah, I think they came out well. I'm very happy. I know back at the club where we play, I'll put these guys on the table.
And nobody wants to touch them.
Nobody wants to touch them. And often, if somebody's either new or hasn't seen them in a while, before I can actually get a game off, when I put them down the table, you're like, hang on, we gotta see your Nurgles, because your Nurgles are gross. And it's really funny. Like anytime I throw them down, because I'll put down a big army. Oh, I love the flies. The flies are a weapon. Why would you not want them? The flies are awesome. Oh, they're gross. They're disgusting and wonderful. Again, I'm a big fan of the figures. I'm a big fan of Death Guard. I love the refresh on them. I know a lot of people are a little intimidated because they're so detailed. And for an army that's not that good, competitive scene, they're like, that's a lot of effort in an army that's just not that good. And then I win with them, except against Drukhari. I mean, I've beaten Marines, I've beaten Imperial Guard, I've beaten Skitarii.
Always fun to watch.
I outlast stuff. And now that they're giving me some stuff to make the guy with the bell actually worth playing, he's going to get back on the table because I love the figure, but he's never really been worth playing. That new relic is going to make him worth playing. I'm going to put him right in the middle of the army now and make my Death Guard even harder to kill.
I'd also like to point out this is how I learned that you don't engage the other army, you go for points.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You know, some people don't, and I don't fault anybody for not liking the attraction or not attracted to them. One of my very earliest things I learned, you can't debate taste. People like what they like. You know, you talk about, I enjoy chaos, but I can say right off the bat, I don't get Khorne. I don't get the mindless violence that is Khorne. That doesn't appeal to me. There's nothing seductive or desirable to me about that. Nurgle gets in and infects you. Tzeentch tempts you with hidden knowledge. Slaanesh
Tempts you with other things.
Slaanesh lubes your driving rods. So, you know, it's just, you know, you get what you get out of it. I mean, my favorite two have always been Slaanesh and Nurgle. Those have always been my favorite two. Oddly enough, back in the day when the Slaves to Chaos book came out, they were the two that came in the book together in the second book, which I absolutely loved.
I don't like Marines.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who don't like Marines.
I don't like Marines on either side.
Yeah, there are people who just don't like Marines. They want to play anything but Marines. There are some people, I can't understand why, but they don't like the Tau.
I think if you get your butt spared.
No, I'll be honest. I was one of them. I liked the look of them, but I didn't want to play them because I wanted to play them, but I didn't want to play them because I looked at them and I couldn't figure them out. I'm like, what am I looking at? All these figures look exactly the same. There's no way. I'm so used to my Marine. Where did I put my son? I'm so used to my Marines where I can look at like a dozen Marines and I can tell they're all different types of units. Like if you dumped a box of Marines on a table, I could quickly sort them out and tell you what's what. You dump a bunch of Tau on the ground, those are guys in suits. And those are guys that are not in suits.
For me, that's the problem I have with Marines.
And that's about it. All the weapons look the same in the Tau. All the dudes look the same in the Tau to me. So I have to thank Commodore. He got me off that. He showed me how to tell the difference between them. But for the longest time, I could not tell the difference between them. Happy Guns would be happy. Yeah, and see, that's the thing. That's why I like playing my Death Guard. My Death Guard play to kill, but they live and die on those points. So, I don't know. There's no wrong way to play this game. There is no wrong way to play this game. Everybody takes their different enjoyments from it. I mean, one of the things I love about my Imperial Guard army is just firing for effect. Let me just pick one unit on a board, and I'm going to eliminate that unit. Just that's what I do. Whatever else I'm doing, that unit's going away this round. and just doing that unit by unit by unit, and just firing until that one's gone, and just picking the next thing down the line, and doing the rapid deployment, get in place, land everything. I agree. And, the funny thing is, they were talking about this. We talk about the commercial, they're all brand new. They were brand new to us. And the idea was that they were fresh out of the bats, which is why they looked very plain. But if you go by the lore, that was fresh out of the bats 300 years previous. That's why Indomitus is such a big deal. Indomitus is supposed to be the current story. This is going on right now in the game.
It's been over 300 years since Guilliman has returned.
Yeah, Guilliman's been back for 300 years now. The Empire has had 300 years to incorporate and upgrade and get used to the Primaris, and they have fully integrated now, which is why they've got all their bells and their whistles, and they've got their relics, and they're finally fully integrated into Wolf Society, or into Marine Society. I can get you there. I guess I can get you there. I get what you're saying. I guess that's the reason I don't like Khorne, because it is just, to me, it's a mindless rage, and that does strike home. That does strike home for me as well. And we've talked about that.
Well, no, because I guess I could see your guys' point of view, but to me, Khorne seems more than that.
And again, it speaks to people in different ways.
I mean, Khorne is really very much, honestly, there's not a lot of difference between Khorne and Kane.
No, there's not.
There's really not. There's enough evidence to support that the two of them actually get along with each other. And that Khorne has saved Kane's ass a couple of times. That Khorne is the reason Kane didn't die against Slaanesh. The two of them are so similar to each other. And to those two groups, it's not just about anger and rage. It's about honor in the battlefield, the simplicity of it, the simple truth that war and fighting bring. There is no other truth than that. There is no other, it's just, and to me, that's what Khorne is. Khorne is the truth and the purity in fighting. Khorne is, there is honor in battle. Which is why Khorne will never attack you from behind. They'll just stab you multiple times in the face, and the chest, and pretty much anything else they can read.
Well, that's behind me, bro.
What are you looking for? Yes, exactly. Exactly, Kaiser. It's about embracing your rage and your anger. It does not control you. You control it, and you use it as a finely honed weapon against your enemies. But again, that's how it is for me, and apparently Kaiser as well, because that's what we take away from it. The Daughters of Cain are the exact same way, which is probably one of the reasons why I can't play them, because I'm already playing Khornates. And for me, I have a brutal temper, an absolutely brutal temper that I keep very tightly under wrap. Honey, you haven't seen it, so I know, I've heard of talk about it. And for me, playing Khorne is that little release of the pent-up aggression and rage that I fight against, because I know my temper and I know what I'm capable of. So for me, that's why Khorne appeals to me, because it's a little bit of a outlet. It's why some people consider Slaanesh this wonderful release for personal pent-up decadence and stuff like that. That's what I see Slaanesh as. Nurgle, surprisingly enough, does not strike me as let it all rot. He is more than that. And Nurgle's a hard one for me because Nurgle honestly disgusts me. And I'm like,
Necrons are just
I'll be honest. I like Nurgle because he's antithesis to everything I actually believe.
of course, I'm also the idiot that sat there and went, holy crap, that's how he got his name. Nurgle, Nurgle. Nurgle, the Sumerian and ancient Orient god of decay, death, and the underworld. Rot.
Necrons are super freaking cool.
Necrons are Terminators. I've grown up watching the Terminator movies, so there's like literally no appeal to them to me, but that's just me.
Okay, so I really like them. First of all, one with they're freaking cool looking, and they have a look appeal to me, and also I have always really been interested in a bunch of different mythology, and I've also been really interested in Egyptian, and that point of it also really makes things really cool to me, because it's like robot Egyptians that you shoot them and they get back up and they're like, ha ha, you can't kill us.
Kind of reminds me of Stargate, in honesty. Yes, Mythos, Ian, you guys are both very much correct. Nurgle is very essential, which is why Nurgle's just gross.
I love Nurgle.
But he is essential because he is life. He is the chaotic side of Asha, the elven goddess of life. In my opinion, everybody are two sides of the same coin. Each of the chaos gods and their chaos counterparts, to me, I think that they're basically the order and chaos, the yin and yang of whatever it is that they are. I mean, Asha and Nurgle are such a, I mean, he is rot and death, the ending of life, whereas Asha is blooming and birth. So they are a cycle in and of themselves. Khorne and Cain are really interesting because they are that essential push, survival, and they're really not that different. So it's like, okay, which one's the good side and which one's the bad side, in all honesty? You don't know because it is war. War is chaos, but there's an underlying order in chaos and war. Change, very much change. And then there's Tzeentch and his counterpart, the Laughing God. They're both about mystery and intelligence and enlightenment, but one is about keeping it and the other is not. One is mischief. But they both cover the same thing. They're both chaotic as hell. Whereas what's really interesting is it took me a bit to figure out where Inyed and Slaanesh fit. Slaanesh is end. There is nothing else with Slaanesh. Slaanesh is decadence and end. There is nothing beyond Slaanesh. Slaanesh is the end of it. Whereas Inyed is antithesis to that. Inyed is the turn. He is the rebirth. He is the death. But he is what happens after the death. That's because he went to sleep so long ago, he's been relegated to myth, is the reason why Slaanesh was able to become and why the elves aren't being reborn. They die, that's it. That's why they created their soul stones, which the two leaders of the Inyid are completely draped in them. Currently, Yvraine, yes, he does have he has Asha, you know, caged up, but that's because he loves her. It's very odd because he loves.
It's a sick love.
Yeah, he loves Asha. That's his wife. He adores her. And she makes life, and he loves life. And through life, there is, growth. And through growth, there is more room for rot. And when he gives her his sicknesses, she evolves them and makes them better and creates antibodies against them, which he adores, and she hates him, but she loves him. And it's
Everything's messed up.
they have like the world's most dysfunctional, abusively messed up relationship ever. It's so weird.
It's amazingly weird.
I mean, it's even worse when you realize that she's the mother of Nurglings.
Which is
And if you want to get to Nurgle's realm, you need one of her items to do it, to open the portal. It was a great story. It was a great story. They had a bloom of Asha, the Yanari did, and to protect the portal, she had to go into the Black Library, get permission from the Laughing God, who assigned the Mask of Midnight Sorrows to assist her, opened up a portal using the bloom of Asha to go through into Nurgle's garden so she could sneak through Nurgle's garden to infiltrate Mortarian's tower and steal a relic from him.
To give it to her boo.
To give it to Gulaman, because Gulaman, for some reason, had them because they can use the warp in ways that nobody else can, because they have Harlequins on their side. They can travel the warp and the webway in ways only Harlequin really can do. So he was using her to collect these relics of darkness together for him. For whatever reason, I don't honestly know. I haven't figured that part out.
She hasn't finished the books.
No, they haven't actually said why.
I know.
Yeah.
It's the third book that was supposed to clear everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Third book's not out yet.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So hilarious, you've got the Vizark and your brain and their personal guards running through Nurgle's garden trying to get the crap away from Nurgle, who's like, and Mortarian stopped pursuing them after they left the tower. He was just kind of like, like he just didn't care. And meanwhile, on the other side, this was hilarious because back in the library, the Thousand Sons and Ari have shown up. And they're now trying to force their way into the Black Library through the Yanari, who are protecting this gate. And to keep the gate open, the avatar of Inyed has been summoned. And he's running around this battlefield just fucking people up. And so finally, Henri of the Thousand Sons just kind of goes, fine, and summons the Lord of Change. And all of the Yanari are going, oh, crap. And not the Avatar, not him, no. He apparently looked at it, pointed his sword at it, bellowed, and then charged it.
Mm-hmm.
And got into a fight. And won. And then disgusted the Drukhari. Because he not only won, he forced the Lord of Change to the ground, ripped its wings off, stabbed it repeatedly, and then ate its chest cavity.
Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
Yeah, it leaned down and basically ripped its chest cavity open and ate it.
What? Why?
The power that it got from consuming. And then it rears back, roars, and goes charging back into battle as the Thousand Sons are going, we're going to go that way now.
Ever seen a purple orc?
Nope. Little do they know, yep. I'm pretty sure that there are some purple orcs wandering around in there.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was a really cool battle scene because one of the lieutenants who used to be a Kabbalite and is struggling with the Drukhari mentality of it's all about me. He tries to convince his captain to leave and take over the Yanari because it's obvious she's not back yet. It's been, so long. She's not back, so your brain must be dead. So, hey, you're the new herald now, so I can kill you and I can become the herald because, Drukhari mentality. And his captain looked at him, looked up at the Incarn. Yeah, Mortarion, get off my lawn. No, Mortarion was more of a token effort. I'm going to stop you. All right, you've already left. You're out of my house. I don't care. Nurgle, get out of my garden.
Here's the thing. Nurgle is not the god of rot and decay. Nurgle is the god of entropy.
Which is decay.
No, it's the end. So the idea of getting out of the area, I'd have to expend energy to do something about you. Meh.
So Mortarion doesn't give a shit. Whereas the garden, on the other hand, came alive and chased their asses. And stagnation, entropy, finality, yes, that is Nurgle's realm. Which, the flip side of that, Asha's realm is the exact opposite. Get out of my gardens or my slugs will hug love you. Basically, and in the fight, what the leader of the Midnight Mask starts, he turns and he looks at the rest of his mask and basically he goes, the next time I go, why not? It sounds like a fun idea. Remind me of this. Okay? And yes, Zane, I love you. I've acknowledged you. I was just trying to get my story out before. And Plague Child's over here. Your favorite. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly right. Gurin, thank you. Sorry, I was I had to get up close because these are not my good glasses. My good glasses are still upstairs from when I was cleaning. Yeah, so, you got the forces that are outside the portal that are fighting, and this captain who was charged with this unit looks up and he sees that the Incarn is still, fighting and, bouncing from unit to unit, just killing people. And he goes, I don't think she's dead because, one, if Our Lady were dead, I'm pretty sure he'd disappear or he'd be a lot angrier. Zane says, Plague Child! He loves you so. He grins. They are grinning at you. So, and then, she ends up coming out of the portal. The portal closes just as a great unclean one is descending on the group.
I really want one of those.
So she scoops up the bloom, uses her own life energy to wake it back up, which causes the Incarn to go into a frenzy. And as soon as she does that, all of the elves that have died get back up. And the Incarn just goes plowing straight into the middle of the now, oh, we're boned, we are out of here, Thousand Sons. She opens this portal back up. The Vizark, who and a bunch of his guys were all left on the other side, everybody comes stumbling out. They're covered in boils and whatnot, and he's just covered in filth. And so are his guys, and she looks at them like, what happened? And he goes, great unclean one, don't ask. They fought a great unclean one and won. by the skin of their fucking noses, people. And then she ends up collapsing, and the Incarn immediately moves over to her and is just standing there. He's like, and everyone's like, that's a scary ass god incarnation.
Yeah, I gotta wonder, making me think, with the changes they're making to melee in this edition,
The Vizark should actually.
the Vizark should be really good now.
For the
And,
most part, the only reason you would ever want the Vizark in your army is he gives a wonderful boost to Eldar. Because he's not a Drukhari, he's actually an Eldar. Even though, in my opinion, they're both the same race. But they're not, because each one has different.
But what I'm thinking is that with as good as they're making melee,
Oh, that's cool.
maybe it's time to actually get a Great Unclean one for my Nurgle army.
You should just get the.
Because he's not for melee.
You should get the Rotrock, or whatever its name is. Rotrot. Rotigus, thank you. And let's see. Zane says some dude made a Great Unclean one out of a tinfoil ball with milliput sculpted on.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that would be fun to try and do. You know, that would be kind of a fun little challenge to try and make my own, tats if I could actually sculpt. I'm actually really bad at it. I am looking forward to the Slanesh army changes as well, because I play Drukhari, Ynnari. My primary thing attack is melee. I get looked at and I am squished. My guys all have tags that say, hello, my name is Stain, my name is Smudge, my name is Smear.
Although she remembered to use her combat drugs, they could stay around longer.
I didn't remember combat drugs. I remember the impervious to pain portion, which was really stupid. But bear in mind, my entire army, the whole basis of my army for my Ynnari is based that I can do, because I found this out that this is actually possible to do, is I can do, let's say, 500 points of Drukhari and 500 points of Eldar. I do this. And I can have both the Avatar of Cain out on the table if he's summoned by my 500 points of Eldar. And if I'm running the Drukhari as Ynnari, I can have the Incarn out as well. Would I do that? Probably not, because that seems like a really cheap, dirty ass thing.
It's not dirty. The problem is it's super expensive. I
Yeah.
mean, the Incarn's like 500 points by himself.
Yeah, so
Kane's like 380 points by himself.
Actually, the Incarn is 300 and something.
Okay.
He's not that expensive. It's more expensive to put Mortarion down.
Well, Mortarion's a
Demon Prince.
he's a Lord of War also.
Yeah.
He's a. I don't know. I think it'd be worth it. I think it'd be kind of cool. I don't think it's cheap at all. I think it's a really good army idea.
I think that depending on who I'm playing depends on if I would ever go that route. But
Don't ever do it when you're playing against the freaking the Grey Knights. They're both considered demons.
Yeah. Ironically enough, did you know that all of the avatars of the different gods are actually considered demons?
Yeah.
Which we found really interesting, because I'm learning more and more, because the Ynnari is a combination of both sides. It's like I can have a squad of witches, but I can only do like 500 points of one type, and then I can do another 500 points of like Howling Banshees,
Which are also melee dependent.
I mean, I've got Howling Banshees, I've got Incubi, I've got, I actually have Drazar, Master of Blades, because
Drazar, Master of Blades.
Because I have the Blood of the Phoenix box. I cannot play him as Drazar if I put him in my my Ynnari army, because he is not Ynnari. The only Ynnari named figures you can play are Jane Zar, the Vizark, Yvrain, and the Incarn. Those are the only named people you can
Jane
play.
Zar cannot be played in the Ynnari?
Yes, you can.
She can now?
Yeah, that was part of the rules, is that she's Yanari.
Oh.
That's the whole thing, is in lore.
I missed that in the book.
Yeah, no, in lore, Jane Czar is a member of the Yanari. So is Prince Yerl. But I'm waiting. That's one of the things I'm waiting to see if with their updates, with the updates as they're now bringing it. This entire expansion is supposed to bring everything up to current edition. Let's see. Hold on a second. Is it because of their aspect? Well, that's the thing that's very interesting, is that the Yanari are not part of Kamara anymore. They've abandoned Kamara. They're actually hunted and killed in Kamara. So witches, they don't get any bonuses for being part of Kamara. So that's kind of the downside. And the Eldar don't get their aspects as members of the Yanari, because the Yanari have their own aspect. And as you play Yanari, you get certain bonuses for that, depending on which side you are. However,
I don't know if you can I think you can still play aspect warriors,
but they cannot be played as Yanari.
They can't be played in the Yanari army as aspect warriors? Because I
I
saw
don't
somebody
believe so.
Because I saw somebody playing Shining Spears.
No, they might be. It's really interesting, and it's like you can play Harlequin in a Yanari army as well, because there are two of the masks that are full-on allied with them. The Midnight Mask, the Mask of Midnight Sorrows are loaned. They still worship the Laughing God first, but they are part of the Yanari because they've been they made a deal. There's another group that sees the Laughing God and the God of Death equally, and there's another deal working in there. And with the Harlequins, if you ask them what their deal is, they're going to negate the deal. So you can't actually ask, why are you working here? So you never know if their end of the deal will ever be completed, and they're going to run away. It's been really interesting, and I've been learning a lot with 5th or 9th edition. A lot of the stuff with the Yanari may change.
We're hoping.
Well, they've changed a lot with the Psychic Awakening, which was with the Psychic Awakening, Jane Czar can be played with the Yanari. Drazon is full on
Drazar,
member.
Master of Blades.
He's Vex's right hand man.
Yeah. Drazar, Master of Blades.
So he cannot be used. So if I were to play him, which I would, he's going to be an incubi. I would play him as an incubi. He would be a stand-in as an incubi within the army, because I can play incubi with them. I set this whole thing up so that if I wanted to, I can do 1,000 points of Eldar. If I really wanted to, I just want to play 1,000-part Eldar. They're not Yanari, they're just Eldar. So I can do that. And Eldar have Psychers. Drukhari have no Psychers. But Drukhari have something to make up for it. They have the Homunculus Guild, which cannot be played with a Yanari army. So I have everything set up in such a way that I can mix and match as I want. But ultimately, I'm playing Yanari. So most of my guys are painted that way.
Ultimately, she's playing Craft Worlds.
Ultimately, she's doing what she wants.
Exactly. I'm doing me.
Like I said,
Wait, that
ultimately,
doesn't sound right.
did you move your rod?
I don't have a rod to lube.
Yes, you do.
Not a rod.
Ultimately, you're playing Craft Worlds, with just being able to play. If you want to play Yanari, you can play as Yanari. If you want to play as Drukhari, you can play as Drukhari. That's what Craft Worlds are.
Yeah, I'm just ultimately. But
I can't wait to actually get her some Harlequins so she can actually paint that crazy cross-hatching symbolry on them.
That's going to be a fun to try. I've never done anything like that, so it'll be fun. I look forward to the challenge.
She's probably going to paint them so they look like Harley Quinn.
I kind of want to do the Harley.
No, I thought you would do the black and red with the white, because I thought was Yanari's colors.
Well, the Yanari's main colors are red and white.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, black is not one of their
But
colors.
you use black as that's your favorite color in these figures. 90% of them have black involved.
Well, that's because when originally I was painting Drukari witches, and Drukari witches wear black cat suits. I mean, even your brain's cat suit is black, or witch suit. But I do have a group of 10 witches that are about to be painted in wolf colors. They're for a narrative play. Very specifically, a very narrative play.
All right, my folks. It is 4:30. We'll do this for
Oh, it
2
is?
hours.
2 hours, 15 minutes, and 38 seconds.
My hand is
I
cramping.
don't paint either. So you talk to them now and let me paint.
I was gonna say, I will be charged here.
Okay.
We can go make some dinner.
What is dinner?
Chicken. Chicken.
Is it really that cool? That we're gonna have.
Okay. He wants to leave Zane. Give him the puppy eyes. Get that thing away from my hand. Get away. Get out. No. Get away. No.
Get out.
You are not wanted.
Get out.
Well, actually, you are wanted, but you know. Actually, I think in this case, I'd be the plate bringer, considering I'm the one who goes out and deals with the pup fight.
Yeah, but
6 feet.
I'm realizing my eyes and my hand are in pain, so I can't paint.
So you can talk.
I've already said everything I wanted to say. All right, let's talk about new rules, new figs. I guess we'll talk about commentary about the game itself, because I already covered all the conceptual stuff I was talking about earlier. The whole fixing and finding your project, finishing your project, not letting your project. What? Well, we can't really afford to go. Oh no. Go check the bank.
That's easy to do.
Yeah. So we've already talked a bit about the new figures. Again, I'm really looking forward to them. I like the whole melee focus in this. I think they're not going to let us down with this melee focus. What else though? They've said there's a lot of new stuff coming, and they've shown glimpses. The new ATV, that four-wheeled vehicle. Honestly, taking a closer look at it, that thing looks dumb. It just looks dumb. I mean, it's cool. I'll get one, but I mean, yeah. Okay. Yeah. It kind of looks. It's like the guy driving. I mean, there's no bumper. He's like right up on the front of the vehicle, and the guy with the autocannon, the guy with the Gatling cannon. You're gonna knock over some figures. I love you. Please stop.
No, just not near my fingers. My fingers are not exactly in this state anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like an old style orc buggy that they converted for Marines. It looks just like the old style orc buggies. It's kind of ridiculous. I like it, but at the same time, it's like they're putting a Gatling cannon 3 inches over the guy's head.
So
He's gonna be deaf in 30 seconds of use of that thing.
Okay, so basically, the Marines stole something from an orc instead of the orc stealing it from the Marines and went, "Ah, bitches!"
I mean, it's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous, and I guess it's the Primaris equivalent of the attack cycle. I don't entirely, but again, I didn't like the attack cycle, the one with the sidecar with the gun. I always thought that looked kind of goofy too. So I think the two of them look goofy. They look just as goofy as each other. Somebody did a mock-up in my Discord. They made it look like, making it look like the bat cycle. So he's down underneath and driving it, and that looks. I'm sorry, this kind of looks dumb too.
I think it's funny. I like it.
I just
anyone for a Batman Black Templar Pokemobile.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I probably will get one. I don't know. It's actually not a vehicle I'm really hype about. It's like it looks kind of silly to me.
Sorry, I'm actually just now looking at our Discord.
I mean, it does. It looks to me, honestly, it just looks kind of silly. I've seen mods for it that already make it look better.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that modification there makes it look a lot better.
So I just saw what they were calling it. Instead of Mario Kart, it's Manus Kart.
Yeah. You think it looks great?
I want one just for the hilarity factor of putting a couple of my girls on that thing, or a girl on the back with one of the veterans driving it, being like, "Yeah." He's got noise muffling shit in his helmet. The whole auto senses thing is the reason the driver would not be.
But the casing's bouncing up. Again, it just I don't know. It just looks silly to me. But again, the same thing. The attack trike, the attack tricycle is the same level of
Hilarity?
you know. It's just I don't know. It looks silly to me, and I'll probably get one. Not gonna lie, but
This is my husband, y'all.
I'm not sold on it yet. I love the new bikes. I love the new bikes. I love that they look very. I love that the new bikes look Judge Dredd like.
He's not going to be deaf. You forget that in the lore, the helmet is deep. Oh, this is true.
There is no sound in space. It's protected from heat and cold. Why would it be soundproof? Why would you sound?
Noise Marines.
Noise Marine weapons work. See, here's the thing. Again, it's funny looking. I'll get one.
It's got some great kit bashing.
It's got some great kit bashing. I think I'll end up kit bashing more out of it than anything else. I can definitely see my orcs stealing it. Just saying.
So the orcs that are with the group of.
Oh, my orcs will steal one of those, most likely. I can totally see there being an orc on the back of that thing and an orc having a grot driving it. Can't even see over the driving.
That'd be so funny.
I assume it's like
I assume that there's space reasons for everything. It is the year 40,000. I just like
something like that.
I don't know. It just okay. How about I put it this way? The repulsor, the three tanks, the impulsor, the repulsor, and the repulsor executioner. Such solid design work. All these new vehicles came out of Call's shop. So he came up with these three tanks. They were great. And then they came to him and went, we need an attack buggy. He went, what do you have for spare parts? And he slapped some spare parts together and went, here you go, guys. It's an attack buggy. And they just took it and ran out the door with it. I mean, compared to the vehicles, and again, it's not bad. I think it looks silly. I don't know.
It looks like Mario.
Did you paint your own? What did you do?
Non-oil tastes nasty.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fast attack assault. I like, again, the flip side is I love the new bikes. I think they're nice and beefy. They look brutal. They look like Judge Dredd bikes. They're going to be awesome.
We're going to do this order. We're going to just take out the soda, and I don't think we need the dessert.
No. I wanted to see the Primaris because we've seen the snuck pictures. I want to see the land speeder replacement because I want land speeders. That's one thing I really want for my wolves. I want to get a couple of land speeders for my space wolves.
Yeah.
I think they're great vehicles. They look like fun. And they're fast and assaulty, and that's what I want to do with my wolves. My wolves are all about ultra rapid, fast deployment.
Hold up, what? They spent too much time around the.
No, I can't I can't hit you with my sword all the way from across the board. I gotta put it in your face. So
your wolves are now Hicks?
yes, Space Hicks. But that's again why I want to get some. I want to get an impulsor or two. I want to get a couple more rhinos.
Them carcolids are good eating. You should try Grandmama's gumbo. You remember Grandmother? Yeah, her name's Everest.
At least you don't try and do that.
What?
You ever tried possum chicken? Possum chicken.
The hell?
That's good eating. Possum chicken's some good eating.
No.
Yes, I'm the only one here that remembers the Avatar and remembers that episode because that was the best episode ever.
I do
No,
remember.
I'm just ignoring
No.
you.
How about some possum chicken? Deep fried possum chicken. Can rhinos carry Primaris? No, that's why I need an impulsor. I need at least one impulsor to drop my assault marines off in somebody's face. I have a repulsor that can carry 5 guys, but I use that thing as heavy fire support. I can't see wasting it on using it as an actual transport. That's the beautiful thing. My wolves, they're still, that was part of the other reason I decided to stop trying to work on making a second unit of Marines. There is still so much stuff I want for my Primaris. I want aggressors, like really badly. I want a unit of aggressors. Like I really want some aggressors to go with my wolves. I want that in-your-face shooting. Oh, did you actually come up with me? Now I'm going to punch you and punch your head off. I'll have to order it after we're done with the stream.
Why? I can do it right now.
Because I can't see chat. And because it pops things up. But I use a lot of Grey Hunters.
I'm hungry. I've eaten once today. Keep talking.
And I only have one rhino. I want another rhino. I use Grey Hunters, which is why I don't mind rhinos. Because I use Grey Hunters. I also want to get a Frost Wolf. I need those flyers. I still need to get my hands on some Wolfen. I honestly, if I can get my hands on a Blades of Mordecai Wolf box, that's still a good buy for me. So that buy if possible.
Watching us, so hello everybody. We apparently lost connection. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to all of my lovelies who are currently watching us. If we are at all entertaining you, informing, or otherwise, keeping you occupied, please hit that like button. It tells YouTube that we are at it, and people like watching us.
This is why I didn't want to do it at the same time, because it messes with the channel stream.
I didn't know that. Thank you for difficulties at this time, so please be with us. Bear with us. Because of your generosity, we are able to continue to buy supplies and other things that we need to see see this channel continuing on the way it is. And thank you, Ian, for giving me your like. Ooh, that thing is going to fall. So to our from moving from the I don't know people's levels, so I'm just gonna say.
So we start off with our 2 Battle Brother levels.
We have Inquisitor Zane
and Mini Warmutt,
who is currently using time management skills to his best ability, and is currently playing World of Warcraft with his friends. Ooh, very fun. To our next level, our level 2
Battle Leaders.
Battle Leaders. We have the one, the only Joe Bookish. We have
Heinrich Botha.
Thank you. And who's the third?
No, we don't. We only have 2 of those.
Only 2 of those?
And then we have 3 of our Warlord level.
At our Warlord level, we have our Smash Captain, our wonderful Commodore who sits in high orbit. So thank you for him. He is a Battle Warlord. we also have the model master, the one, the only, the legend, Alex Drake. And we have
Meeks.
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 our dear friend James Meeks also coming in as our battle brother. Merchandise available at teespring.com, the Epic and Craft Dragon store. Currently, we are offering mugs, cups, sweaters, stickers that all say Prime for Licking. So it's lots of fun. We have some shirts that are currently in the wash, but here is an example of one of our lovely things that we offer. A wonderful little sticker just for you guys, primed for licking. T-shirts and phone cases are also available, as well as mugs. So, yay!
And maybe I'll make a Plague Child.
Eventually, we'll have one Plague Child, and that's where my other stuff is going to go. You know, the whole "Who's your daddy?" and "Beep beep, I'm so cute." "Beep beep boop, I'm so cute" with a Tau droid, because apparently people think adorable.
It's adorable. The scarabs are cute too.
Yeah, except for they don't really have a say.
Beep, 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 I eat your meat. That's what the scarabs say.
Yeah, exactly.
Beep beep beep, I eat your meat.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right on multiple levels.
They're Necrons.
It's up there with the lubing your rod.
Skinner, don't be.
That one works
That's
too.
Necron.
I think we are going to call it here because we're losing steam. It's 5 o'clock.
Thank
And
you, Ian, for so much for coming out. The T-shirt is made.
no, they're talking about the beep, 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 I eat your meat.
Oh, it doesn't help considering, you know, we've got Prime for Licking, and there is the
And the word on the
Daddy
street.
shirt.
And the word on the street.
No, that would be this one. We wear that one. I'm not wearing it because I'm not a Necron player.
All right. All right, folks. We have had a pretty crazy weekend, a pretty crazy night. We're going to thank you all for being in here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, ring that bell. We try and do this about once a week. Plus, we have our regular Tuesday stream, 7:30 Central Time, U.S. time. We do our stream for an hour and a half from 7:30 to 9.
Sometimes we go over depending on what the commentary is currently, or the discussion is.
We try to get one of our, either a tutorial or one of these kind of streams every weekend. We also hit us up on Instagram, Lady Dragon 28. I'm the Gamecraft Dragon.
The Plague Child.
Plague Child. We have merch, as we just talked about. Hit us up. Talk to us. We want to talk about more.
Anything you want to see us talk about?
And my brother needs me to call him, so I need to give him a call.
Oh my God, I hate Stormcats.
So that being said, I love you all so much. Hit that like button. It helps us out. Thank you so much. Remember, epic your board and epic your game.
Okay, I gotta write that down. Daddy D. That's gotta be a shirt now.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody.
I'm just imagining the Skinner